All right, everybody. I have AP coming in.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, got me out here. Show my bun.
Okay. you want to? All right, we're gonna start with questions in person, and then we'll move to the Zoom. Jack, go ahead.
How are we doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So it just feels like you really found the touch shooting the ball, especially coming out of handoff actions and ball screen actions. But still, just playing alongside her, what is that like given how much attention she commands, the second she's done handing the ball off to you or setting a screen for you?
I was talking to Sil the other day about how I've never played with a dominant post like her. Every other team has usually been, I feel like she's like the Shaq of our league. Like, you get her the ball, she's gonna get you a bucket or something, right? So I'm still learning to play with her. I also realize sometimes coming off of ball screens or handoffs with her, I have that little mid-range jumper I love a lot more because they're so close to her. And I know also the second game in Indiana, they tried to take that away from me, which was great because when they're blow by or when they're focused on Seal or me, the U-turn pass is open. And we're getting a lot more stuff out of our offense that way. So.
In just the past few weeks, it seems like everybody that's been made available to the media has talked at length about how good and how consistent the bench unit has been.
Yes.
Just since you've been back, what do you think is one thing maybe that each player has done, either here in practice or in a game, that you think has really, led to each individual player playing really well recently?
We're giving to each other, and we're learning off each other's mistakes. You know what I mean? So when coach talks about one player, we all listen. So we make sure we're not doubling up that mistake. So that's going to make us better as a team. I know Jess coming in, giving us offensive rebounds. And no matter how many minutes she gets, she's coming in and producing rebounds. And on the defensive end, we're locking in. We did really bad. We did really good the second game against Indiana, and the first game compared to Vegas. So we're just coming in. We're ready to, get these next two games under our belt and go into playoffs. I think we're all progressing at the right time right now.
And then with Fee playing the four, one, how do you think that changes the offense for you personally?
Mm-hmm.
With you kind of playing your more natural three, and then two, have you noticed a difference in the way that Fee has been putting pressure on the defense with her playing the four?
Yeah, she's been pressuring the passes a lot. Most teams that we played lately have been trying to run that pass through the four. So if they're trying to get it to a guard, they might stop at the top of the three-point line and run that pass through them. But she's pressuring so hard that it's really disrupting the the offense. So if you think about that, that's also taking time off of the clock. That's helping our team on each possession every time.
On
defense. Now, say we pressure the guard that's trying to also get the pass. That's also taking some time off the clock, and it's just making another team frustrated. So.
And then last one for you, you've got an opportunity to play with K-Mac a lot more, which is obviously what the plan was originally when you guys first both got here. Just what has stood out to you the most about playing with her?
She's a great communicator, and everybody knows she's a great shooter. She shoots the lights out. She's like Steph Curry in our league, right? She can shoot. If she gets an open shot, she's gonna make it. But communication is really good, and I've learned in watching and in playing with her up screens. Any screens with her is so good because they focus so much on her because she can shoot well. So sometimes you do have a screen, two might go with her and someone else might be wide open. So, our team has a lot of dynamics that I think will help us win a championship this year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jackie, go ahead.
Hey, Ariel. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Let's turn you up. Hold on. Okay,
you're good. So I've got a question for a colleague of mine who's writing a story about who some of the best defensive guards are in this league and who are the people who, when you've gone up against them, they've sort of put you on notice with how they've been able to, I guess, guard your dynamic style of play. So who are those people in the league, if it's this year or last year, who have really stood out, defending you?
Defending me? It's tough to say too because I've only played a few. I haven't played all the teams yet, because I've only played 4 games in the beginning, which we all were trying to get our legs up under us and learn each other. So I don't really have any to say right now. I think you should ask me that question during the playoffs a little bit.
Sure.
Just because of the teams I've played so far, I haven't played everybody. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this. When you were in the Wubble last season, who were some individuals that, that are in the league, I guess, now that you remember, really being able to get in your face and make you feel uncomfortable, more at the guard.
I can say nobody. I feel like I'm a good enough player and I put enough work on a court that I don't feel like anybody's made me feel uncomfortable. Sometimes I get in my own head, but I mean, it might be cocky to say this, but I'm going to say no one.
Okay. That's totally fair. I appreciate the question, or the answer rather. Another question I have for you is a bit more related to social justice, which I hope is okay. We've been a little, or I may just be speaking for myself, but when it comes to reporters asking you guys about what's going on in this country, I think it was last week where I saw a t-shirt from Alicia Clark, and she wore a shirt that was referencing the abortion bill that was passed by the Texas legislator. So I'm curious from you, like what you've heard around the league, because one of the social justice principles for you guys this year is looking at women's health inequities. So I'm curious as to, this bill being passed in Texas. It's pretty, I guess, jarring. What has sort of been the response, I guess, within sort of what you've been hearing within the Players Association, and sort of how you want to combat this?
For me, our team hasn't talked about that much, but I did hear about it maybe like a few days ago. And my girlfriend brought it up to me. And honestly, I'm going to speak honest. I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair because I'm not to say that you can abort or you can't abort, but I think it should be your own decision.
Yep.
And that's what I'm going to say on that. I think it should be your own decision. Honestly, I really do. Because there can be other things that happen to where, if you can read between the lines, that maybe something's happened and that might not be what you want to do because it reminds you of something, or, so I feel like it should be your own decision on whether or not to make that decision. I don't feel like it should be anyone else's but yours because it's your body as a woman. So yeah, that's definitely a tough one, but that's how I feel.
All right, guys, we have time for 2 more questions. Danny, did you have a question?
Yeah, hey, P. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit. You mentioned a little bit about how kind of you and Silfals have such different temperaments, and it's kind of a opposites complement thing. Yeah, could you talk a little bit more about kind of how that fits within like the leadership structure of the team and the morale structure of the team? Just kind of like her as the backbone and you as kind of just the more fiery, passionate.
Yeah, she's the one. Like, I'm more like, when we need that extra push and energy to hype us up, that's me. Look to me. When we need like a go ahead push, and then for me, and a lot of the times when we're too high, I think she's that person that's like, get us level. You know what I mean? Like, even today in practice, I felt like I was a little too high, a little jumpy, and I'm not sure why. I think I don't know, overly excited for practice today. I have no idea why. The first thing I did when I woke up was like, oh yes, these few more games, and we're gonna be in the playoffs is the first thing I thought about. And I think I carried that into practice today. And she had to kind of talk to me and say, P, slow down, relax, wait on your screen. So I think that is like what I spoke about. When we need that high energy, I'm that. But when we need that, like I call her Mama Sil, when we need that relax, settle back in, that's who she is. Seriously, she's great at it, and it's a good balance for us.
Awesome, thanks so much.
Danny, did you have a follow-up?
That's it.
Christina, did you have a question?
I'm good for now.
All right, thank you guys. We have Rachel coming up next. Thanks. Ready for you, Rachel. All right, everybody, we have Rachel Banham with me. We're going to start with questions in person. Go ahead, Jack.
Just how much confidence do you think it brings players on the team that, no matter what the game is calling for, whether that be more shooting, pick and roll playmaking, defense, rebounding, whatever it is, that you have somebody off the bench that is truly elite at the WA level at whatever the game might be calling for?
Will you rephrase that question? Sorry.
Yeah, just how much confidence do you guys get knowing that there's somebody on the bench that's really, really good at whatever the game might be calling for?
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like we're so versatile. We have so many different options, depending on how the game goes and what we need. There's just different pieces, and that just helps know that we have that kind of depth, 1 through 12, 11. But it just, I feel like teams like us are able to win games like that because we have people who can come in and do different things, and that's hard on other teams. Usually when you kind of put the bench in, it's all right, it could dip a little bit, but I feel like we're able to kind of keep it even keel, which is really tough to play against.
And then no matter who's leading the second unit, whether that's you or that's Crystal now with injuries, you guys have been leading the WNBA in both assists and assist to turnover ratio as a bench unit the whole year. What do you think that you guys have seen on the court more recently that have allowed you guys to really kind of further extend your lead in both of those areas?
Yeah, I think just playing off each other. I think we talked about this the other night. We just move the ball really well as a second group, and I think that just helps me and Crystal, be able to facilitate. We don't have to dribble and just sit and hold the ball. We can move the ball around, and we just end up getting good shots out of that.
And now that we've gotten, and you especially have gotten more of the aerial powers experience, just what do you think she unlocks on the floor for everybody else and brings to your team that, maybe wasn't there in terms of on the court production while she was out?
Yeah, I think right now just that scoring mentality. I mean, she's coming in, she's getting the shots up, she's looking to score, she's trying to get a bucket. And I think that's just something that she's bringing right now. It's just that scoring mentality. She's going to get a bucket regardless. And we've had that at times with different people. I think you see that at different times, different players doing that, but that's just something that she consistently does.
And then in terms of looks on the floor, Cheryl talked a lot about coming out of the Olympic break that the key to really maintaining balance offensively was getting players in their spots that they're comfortable in either playmaking on the floor or looking to score on the floor. Just for someone like you that really enjoys playing in ball screens, just how do you feel your personal comfortability is and maybe just the team's overall chemistry and kind of knowing where everybody likes to be?
Yeah, I think we've done a lot better with that now that we have AP back and people are healthy, is finding people in the right spots. That's something that me and Crystal and Lasia have to do, is make sure that people are in their comfortable spots. And for me, coming off ball screens, I am really comfortable in that area, and it's been fun because I've been able to play a lot of the one, and that's usually when I kind of get the ball and have the ball in my hands more, come off ball screens, be able to find people. So, yeah.
And then just with Fee being back and she's playing the 4 now instead of the 3, what do you think that allows you to do offensively that you might not have been able to do when she was playing the 3?
I mean, I think putting her at the 4, I think it spreads the floor a little bit. Being able to have that 4 player that can pick and pop and be able to shoot the outside perimeter shots, also drive. So I just think it kind of gives us a little bit more space than maybe having her at the 3. It's just more dynamic. We're able to have her in ball screen. She can also space. She can just do a little bit more. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're moving to the Zoom. Jackie, go ahead.
Hey, Rachel, thanks so much for being here. I have a first question, actually. I mean, there was a lot of news yesterday because Alyssa Thomas is now back for the Sun. I know that, you spent some time playing with her. And so I'm curious as to what your reaction was to, I guess, seeing that news.
Yeah, I am not shocked. That is such an AT thing. I always call her LeBrona. That's something we used to call her in Connecticut because that's just how she is. She's incredible. And I am not shocked that she would come back this soon and be perfectly fine and get buckets. So I'm happy for her. You never want to see a player like that go down. Yeah, but I am not surprised.
Thank you for that. And I have a question from a colleague who's writing a story about sort of who the best defensive guards in this league are. So I'm curious as to who are the folks that fit that description from you of the people who you've faced who, you think are really, I guess, elite defenders in this league?
Yeah, I will always say Jasmine Thomas because I played with her in Connecticut. I played against her. She just is a fireball, just lanky, athletic, quick, smart. She's always somebody that's been just tough to play against, and she just has an endless motor. So she's my number one on that list for sure. And I just look up to her a lot. So she's an elite defender.
I appreciate that too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Danny, do you have any questions?
No, hi Rachel though.
Hi.
Christina, do you have any questions for Rachel?
Nope.
Could I ask one more? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Jackie.
Okay. So I asked your teammate Ariel about this as well, and this is a bit more social justice. And I probably should have been asking you guys about this earlier, but I did see that Alicia Clark wore a shirt last week that referenced the abortion bill that was passed by the Texas legislator. And so with the social justice principles and themes for this season being focused on women's health and equities, I'm curious as to sort of what you're maybe hearing, you know, around your team or around the league when it comes to the PA about trying to advocate against that.
Yeah. We haven't discussed it a ton. I think just because it's pretty fresh and new. I think that's something that we will start to talk about probably here within the next week or two. So I don't have like a crazy good answer for you on that. I'm pro-choice, so I'm like, you know, whatever we got to do. But we haven't discussed it a whole ton right now.
I appreciate
know it's not
that.
the best answer for you, but
no, but just the process. I mean, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
All right, that's it for today. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, y'all.